Hello. All day today, I have been wanting to record, but I didn't really have the that signal that I feel when it's time to record. Even sometimes if I have pages and pages of notes, if the signal does not ping, I really try not to force it. So I didn't, and okay. Speaking of, I do have pages and pages of notes, but most of the day, it's almost like I felt as if I was in I feel like I'm stuttering, as if I was in this sort of twilight zone. I took a very long bath, a orange essential oil and sea salt, and I just was really drawn to orange and shades of oranges, peaches, golds today. And there is lots of color lately, color frequencies. There's a pink and gold plasma stream that has been coming in very recently. Well, you may have heard the dogs. So I'm planning on doing a live this week or the beginning of next week. And I'll go into the synchronistic connections that have been coming through for that, particular, what I like to call the pink water or pink waters. And it's sort of layers through different beings and realms, aspects of the self that come through. So 222 miles. There may be some distractions. All of a sudden, neighbors are out, and I'm in an apartment building, and my mom's dog is clearly reacting to that. So I almost didn't finish recording, and my throat is going, but I just picked her up and I'm soothing her a little bit. Anyway. Okay, so the other day, and I honestly didn't remember until tonight, or was it earlier today, yesterday? At some point, I've been walking my mom's dogs quite a bit, and I looked up in the sky, and I believe the last time this happened, I was in Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. Now I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'll see sort of a, what is it called? A geolocation tag. If you look on Google Maps, there's a pin. But I'll see one of those in the sky, in the clouds. So the last time that happened, I was basically pinged that I was going to see some UAP or a plasmoid, something. So back when I organized a group. Does anyone know who Stephen Greer is? This was years ago. I did I participated in a meetup group for, I can't even remember the name, CE5. And then once the first group kind of fizzled out, I started a second group. So I was a part of two different groups of CE5, one that I joined and one that I started. And I learned from Stephen Greer vectoring. I am not saying anything about Stephen Greer. I know there's a lot of opinions, and I'm just mentioning a method that I learned from him. So every once in a while, I would sort of, when you learn something from someone and you kind of make it your own over time, that's kind of what happened with vectoring. And so this pin, I don't know why I keep hearing geotag. I'm not even sure what that is, to be honest. I have to look that up. But they're geolocation. Yeah. So that was my way of vectoring, and it was like I had done it, I guess, so many times, like the imprint, that when I started to see that symbol in the clouds, it was like an instant communication of all the times that I would vector, like an imprint. At least that's what I'm being shown right now. So I was shown this again, like yesterday, today at some point, and I just sort of like, when I see it, I kind of give like just like a telepathic nod, like received. And the number 108 also feels really significant. Like if you've been seeing 108, or you will after this, the significance of counting, 108 on a mandala, or like prayer beads. I'm cooking pasta, so I'm gonna pause because you might hear the plastic, or like the saran from the Italy could be significant because this pasta is from Naples, Italy, and it's tricolor. I don't know, just in case that's significant for someone. I also just used Mediterranean salt, and I just booked a flight back to like Europe and the Balkans. So there's something about that area, and I'm just being reminded of an experience that I had when I was in Gela, Sicily, very similar to what I'm about to describe now. So it feels like there's some sort of, I heard the phrase a gridlock. I'm not exactly sure why that's coming through. We'll see what happens, but the word location again is coming through, but yeah, something very specific about like the Adriatic Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, that part of the world. And it's almost like those of us who are spotting some of these UAP or plasmoids, there's something about like our location that we receive and bring with us, and it like ripples through, of course, through the quantum, but there's also, they're showing me like the as above, so below, and like through the, okay, so last night, I'm remembering now, I was stargazing a little bit. The stars where I am right now it was really clear tonight and last night, and I could see the filament, which I don't always see, but sometimes I'm shown the filament of the stars, and I was kind of being shown like Lemuria and the star forts. So yeah, there's something about like the grids on the earth and the stars and the filament and the mirroring of that as above, so below. And then of course within the geometric matrices, the light geometry. And sometimes I'm shown this visual like in a spy movie, you know, when like someone is trying to break into, steal a jewel or something, and that elaborate alarm system with all of the red lasers. It's kind of like that, but this communication system that runs the filament in the stars, reflected through the grids of the earth, through different realms and dimensions, and then like different layers of the ley lines, and then within the earth and the sediment in the rocks. Like there's this whole root system. Lightning is really significant. They're showing me like lightning, how that communicates with the mycelium network. Like there's something about like the communication, but on angles of communication and light. Okay, so we'll keep going. Also, nines could be significant, and I'm being shown this, who was it? Dr. Teresa Bullard. Again, when I reference people, I'm aware that there's shadow and light, and yeah, always please use your discernment when I bring people up. Anyway, Teresa Bullard, Dr. Teresa Bullard, I remember I saw this interview with her years ago, and I've brought it up before, but she speaks about the Pythagorean, essentially, number system, and how most of our cities are built on a specific number system, and how there's actually, the number 9 is really relevant, that at some point when they're showing me like what people say, that the golden cities, the light cities, will be, again, I'm seeing star forts, will be sort of this already exists. It's not like brand new, but it's that idea of like past, future to co-create, to rewrite the future in the present, utilizing this number system. And 9s are very significant. So the star of Arcturus is coming through very strongly. And, excuse me. What I really wanted to make clear is that, of course, I'm just bringing through, no, I just heard I don't need to do this right now. I can just keep going and then, yeah. I don't want to like over explain. I'm just going to kind of let it come through and then we can decode from there. Okay, so back to the experience where I felt I have not mirror scried intentionally in a while. I mean, I often will just sort of do it because it's just it just happens now because I've, there's something really significant about imprints. And when you really imprint, like in a practice, your energy signature, there's like a memory, like a muscle memory. Not always exactly muscle, but that same concept. Anyway, but today Scrying's been coming up a lot this week. Actually, in the last YouTube description, I meant to say transmission, but maybe there's something significant for someone in that YouTube description box in the last chronologically transmission that I posted. So, which is really funny because I realized today, like, why do I fill out description boxes? But like, I just sometimes feel called to and sometimes don't. Anyway, so there could be a significance there. But as I was tapping into so much about scrying the last time I recorded, which actually I was also in the tub. I haven't been able to take baths in a while, so I'm really taking advantage of having a tub right now for the month that I'm staying in Pennsylvania. Anyway, scrying kept coming up so strongly, and then right when I was finished my bath, this was like 2 days ago, was the day of like the Phillies opener. I can't remember what day that was. Maybe Wednesday. Today might be Sunday. Something like this. I don't remember. And yeah, within like an hour, I got ready and my mom's building is very like community oriented. So I went downstairs and there was like a little gathering for the opening. And my mom's friend was there. So I like went down to say, just, there was some food and whatever. And one of the people that I met in the building previous, immediately I saw her and she was like, hey, and I was like, oh, hi, I didn't even see her. And she literally was like, oh yeah, I asked her, her friend does like paranormal, like sightings where they'll go to like, I think he has a show and they'll go to like these different locations and tap in. And I was like, oh, because I knew the last time I saw her, she was going with her friend to a location that weekend. So I asked her how it went and she was like, oh, it was really interesting. She's like, there was a lot about scrying. And I was like, yeah, I was really feeling that. I was literally just recording like an hour ago about, and scrying was coming through so strongly. So scrying could be really significant. Anyway, so today after my bath, I just felt the urge to look in the mirror and scry. And usually like for me, when I look in, I'll know that it's, I'll see kind of like almost like a pixelation start to sort of appear. And these beautiful hues of pink were coming through really strongly, but very like almost bioluminescent pink, like neon pink. And it just started swirling all around and my face started to sort of almost elongate. It was almost like it's really interesting. So this could be a collective message. Anything that I felt like I was seeing myself through and like any distortion of heaviness or, it was almost like there was just this lightening up and everything was like more golden and pink and clear. and light. Anyway, then I just started hearing something about, I heard a few different songs that were coming in, and then I heard something about Hellllo codes, and I was being shown these, what I like to call hatching of Hellllo codes. So this was today, and I just like kind of asked whatever, I do like a whole thing, you know, like in my closing and intention setting, etc. So I did my thing, cleansed, etc. And I just said like whatever I'm meant to experience. Like I know that this was just like sort of almost like if you want to call it like an upload, a download, a transfer. Like I knew that there was information coming in, but like it was going to come in layers and a little bit over time. And then I just kind of went on with my day. So anyway, this was like a few hours ago. And then I felt the need to take my mom's dogs out like an hour earlier than I normally would have. And I took them outside and something just told me like, I just like felt a ping, and I looked up, and I saw, so it's so interesting because yes, these could be satellites that I see, but every time I have this experience, they come with so much synchronicity before, during, and after. That is why I don't think it's just satellites. Anyway, I felt a ping. I look up, boom, I see something. And it's like the way I see it, it's so hard to describe. Some of you that have this experience may understand. Like, it's like this, you know, planes blink, right? It's never blinking. It's this circular, almost like plasmoid that just, and it's the way it moves. It moves in like angles, and it's very fast and smooth. Anyway, so I see it darting across the sky. I did take a video. I don't know if I got it. I haven't watched the video yet. And I was feeling things, I was hearing things, but I always am very like, I try to be very grounded with it, you know? So I just gave a little nod, said, you know, sent some messages and did some grounding with the energy, imagining it, streaming, etc. And my mom's dog one of the dogs was being very stubborn and would not go inside. And that's not really usually like her too much. And I was like, I see what's happening here. All right, we won't go inside yet. She took me like around the building, like the other way. Like we had already walked way more than my mom usually walks them. And my mom's a little bit like, oh, you know, it's like, be careful. I don't want them to walk too much, you know? So I try to be mindful. Although I think they're fine. But anyway, so they wanted to walk the other way. Well, the one did. And I was like, all right, we'll walk again. And then all of a sudden, so last night I heard so I hear a lot of ear pitch frequencies, like high frequencies. Last night I heard a double. It came in both ears at the same time. Like my hearing went for a second. It was like, I call it pressure shifting. I pressure shifted to basically like no sound. And then all of a sudden a double pitch came in, but it was pretty even. Like it didn't blow my system out or anything. It was very, and I was like, okay, I know something's coming. So tonight, after I saw the first, I'm calling it a plasmoid just because that's what I'm feeling, but yeah. Oh, a timer. Oh, a timer. I don't know why I forgot I set the timer. Okay. So my mom is coming home soon, so I want to keep this a little bit on the streamlined side. So we walk around the building, and I was just feeling a lot of movement in the energy. And when I went to go back inside, I heard like look up, and both dogs were being so quiet, and they just stood there with me. I look up, and I heard look like an angle of the other direction that I saw the original one. And sure enough, another one was streaming across the sky, darting across the sky. And I was like, all right. And then back to the Hellllo codes. As I'm watching this one, this happens every once in a while, my right eye. So when I scry in a mirror, I scry through my eye. And now I do it in different settings, not just a mirror, but I started doing it in the mirror years ago. I accidentally hit play instead of pause. So this is a continued audio, and I was talking about now I'm using pink Himalayan salt. That could be relevant for someone. And spinach. Okay. Excuse me. Someone could be receiving communication with like bangs or like environmental, like they're communications coming through like lights, bangs, the walls, things like this, like refrigerator hums. That could just be a confirmation for some of you. Anyway, what am I trying to say here? So, as I'm seeing the second UAP, there's this phenomenon that happens with my eye where it's hard to explain. I'll kind of just almost catch a light stream, and then I'm really like locked into a specific light ripple, and I'll just see all of these Hellllo codes and rainbows. And if I hold my focus, it's almost as if you're looking into a microscopic lens into a light stream and seeing and feeling and embodying these codes, and visually I can see it. And so that was happening right after I saw, it was either in between, I think it was right after I saw the second UAP, and I was being shown almost like, who was that character? I think it was Go-Go Gadget. I don't know why I'm being shown Go-Go Gadget, but I'm not sure if it was Go-Go Gadget, but there was like one, or Inspector Gadget. There was like a character that would have like an eye and a microscopic in its eye, and they were able to like, if anyone remembers who that is, please feel free to share, because I cannot. There was like a cartoon or something in the eye with like a telescope or a microscope. And so that's kind of like what they're showing me is the phenomenon where you can like microscopically. And it's so synchronistic because recently, I can't remember which transmission I was speaking about, utilizing a microscope to go deeper into like molecules and molecular structures and seeing the crystalline nature and formations and how much the naked eye doesn't always see, and how within us is like this inner technology that also has its capabilities in ways that may not be so obvious, and this is one of the experiences I didn't even realize when it started happening. It first happened like when I was a teenager, and I thought I was like losing my mind, like an aura migraine sort of thing. Anyway, I truly believe that these are like inner technologies that, consciousness, plasma, etc., etc. Okay, so I was being shown that mirror scrying experience that I had was sort of like an amplification of the next layer of this inner crystalline technology that we possess, and that I was getting this activation, upgrade, whatever you want to call it. And so when I was sort of in this zone where this like microscopic vision was enacted, is that a right word? Enacted, enabled. The Helllons were almost like, I'm hearing the word ovum. It's really interesting because I was feeling it really deeply in the left side of the womb. And in particular, I'm getting the ovaries, but like it was like pulsating, almost like painfully. And I was being shown this like mother or feminine womb healing, nothing to do with man or woman, but the feminine womb space. And it's funny because I was talking about the orange, like I was guided to use orange essential oil. I had an orange candle. There's just been a lot about oranges and peaches and golds again. The sacral plexus, the whole idea of hierogamic templates, masculine, feminine integration, birthing that next octave. And so like what happens when humans become whole within themselves and re-encrypt through the Aurora timelines. And, a lot of the time of Lemuria and the epoch of Lemuria, I think, is becoming so prevalent in the energy is because a lot of us are having these memories of how we used to communicate multidimensionally. And there's not always just a like a rubric of how to do it. It's like kind of, you know, encoded within us. And it just, so if you ever have urges, you know, please always be safe. But, oh, my voice just got so loud there. You know, like when I first started wanting to like, now I know it's eye scrying, but at the time I had no idea. I just had this urge to literally like look so close to the mirror in my left eye and just stare. And then I started to see things and experience things and hear things. And, you know, it was like a whole process. So I wanted to share this because, you know, even the thing about my mom's dog not wanting to go inside, like I knew like I could not get her to go in, and I was like, there's another one coming or something else is coming. Like I just knew, and because this has happened so many times at this point. But, you know, for someone who's maybe just getting into this, oh, and interestingly, when I was trying to make a note about the microscopic and the response, the word ship, I was trying to write the word ship, but it kept autocorrecting, to shop. So someone could have been shopping recently, or maybe you are wanting to shop. There's something about shopping that was coming up pretty strongly. And like weird cravings. Like I'm craving tomato sauce, which is so weird for me because tomato sauce usually gives me heartburn and I don't really eat it. But I'm like really craving. This is like a really pure brand of sauce. So I try not to, I don't know why I'm explaining this. I try not to eat, you know, like a lot of the additives and stuff. This is like an imported brand. It's truffle. I love truffle. Anyway, so yeah, there's just something that I don't want to I just heard to be continued. So I did take a video. I'll look at it and see if it's worth posting. The building that I'm staying with my mom has a permanent like violet-ish color light on the exterior. So there is like that sort of light reflected from the video because it's on the building. So I'll see if I got anything. Yeah, let me just tune in and see if there's anything else. I specifically just heard claircognizance. So someone here could be claircognizant, or maybe that's something you've been tuning into or sort of calling in for yourself. I'm also seeing the color green. And I'm hearing someone say like, oh, and it's 9:11 on the clock. So you could be seeing 911, hearing sirens, alarms, timers, wake-up calls. There's something about like, okay, I don't know why I just was shown a whale penis. Yeah, I'm seeing sperm and I was hearing like, I don't know how I know, but I know, like that kind of vibe. So someone here could be like, you could just like know shit and be like, I don't know, I just know, you know, that kind of thing. You know, you just know that you know. I don't know how I know, but I know. So this kind of feels like what you've been going, if this part of the transmission is sitting with you, or I just like felt the need to touch my heart. You could be really working through the heart, releasing through the heart. There's something about a heart opening, a heart deepening. I just heard MO, your modus operandi, like there's something that you do that's directly connected or through the heart. And it feels like you're kind of almost working backwards. Not backwards. That's not the way. It's the way it's being shown to me, but it's really not backwards. Like this idea of claircognizance, it's like, again, you know, you don't know how you know that you know you know. So it almost feels like the mechanics of how some of this is actually like the inner workings, you may start taking more of an interest, or things may start showing up for you. So it's like you experienced it from a more just organic, this is just how it is, to like now there may be some more deeper understanding. Yeah, that feels very like I'm hearing by design. Okay. I'm also being shown the Titanic. I'm not sure why, but Titanic is coming through. The Titanic. I'm also hearing just around the river bend. Isn't that from Pocahontas? Paints with all the colors of the wind. Okay. I'm being shown that. Also, perhaps, like, vocal, like 90s female vocalists, like Whitney, Mariah, and Toni Braxton, like that sort of, like, belting type of female vocalist energy is coming through, or like, you know, Disney princess movies like Pocahontas. Not that I don't think she was a princess, but you know what I mean, like that kind of singing. For some reason that's coming through very strongly. Okay, the color fuchsia. I heard fuchsia. I'm also seeing a diamond. The double diamond template, diamond templates. Okay, yeah. Seeing the letter H, and I was hearing something, but it's not coming through all the way. Herkimer diamond, but then there's also something about like grid templates and like I can see the word and I can feel it, but I can't get it out of my mouth for some reason. I want to look it up because you may hear me typing. Thank you for your patience. I tried to pause, but for some reason I cannot pause. Let's see. So the Hadron Collider, that could be relevant for someone. There is another word that I'm feeling, but for some reason it's not coming right now, so I'm going to trust that it will show up exactly when it's meant to. I did research a bit, and in the research for this specific word, I actually came across something else that feels like quite relevant. But also, Hercules and Hera could be coming up for some of you. So, on the Ascension Glossary, I will go into this more deeply on Patreon. But I was guided to, somehow I stumbled upon the Sun Disk Network. And this talks a lot about the universal Ankh body, the Palladorian activation. I'm burping a lot, so there's a lot of releasing happening. The embodiment of the Avatar Christos Sophia. Excuse me. 7 higher heavens. These are just some encoded words that I'm being guided to read out loud. But like I said, I will go into more depth on Patreon. The Crystal Core Sun Disk instruction sets. Ooh, when I said that, I don't know if you heard my throat, it like kind of got stuck. And I was talking about like feeling in the twilight zone. And right as I was seeing the second UAP, I had a ding on my phone, and it was this notification from Threads. Quantum Fairy Priestess is the person who posted 55 minutes ago. So you could be seeing repeating fives, and then right under that is 1. Anyway, it says, I think you need to thank the universe in advance for this windfall of blessings that's about to reach you. Something amazing about to happen to you. Which I felt very, okay, if that just like happened, you know, it could just be like, oh, timing, whatever. Not that big of a deal. But the significance of, so yesterday and today, I swear, every once in a while we have these like, whatever you want to call them, timeline shifts, integrations, jumps. And yesterday and today I woke up like there's some sort of next octave of living quality experience. We can call it a timeline jump, but this feels like a pleasure pulse. Yeah, my mom just opened the door. So like a new door is opening. Well, after that pause and the pleasure pulse, I'm going to be wrapping this up, but I did look for this H word that I'm trying to find, and it's just not coming. So but the significance of so, you know, when you like feel like you wake up, oh, I haven't heard this in a while. You may be seeing zeros, or you may start, someone's releasing through the throat. You know when you're like really craving something and then you finally get to eat it and it's just like, oh yeah, that happened today. Well, just now, 9:44 on the clock. So I feel very satiated, speaking of that. But anyway, I hope you also have something that helps feel satiated, whatever that may be. For some reason, I was just sewn. Maybe someone's sewing or needs something sewn or just got something sewn, because I did not mean to say that, but sewing, sew kit. But I was shown like, there was something people, like a lot of people make at the same time online. What's that called? Like a viral recipe or something? I don't really know. Sometimes people like send me things, but it was like lemon, blueberry, like yogurt puffs or something. I don't know. Or like lemon, blueberry, cottage cheese, something. I don't know. I was just shown like something with lemon, blueberry. It's very specific, but I heard a rocket pop, and I just took a bite of food. It's so good. Again, so yeah, when you just wake up and whatever you want to call this phenomenon of this, I don't even know if it's a timeline shift. It more feels like a timeline merge or unification. Like you may have been doing soul retrieval and or like calling back fractals, reintegrating fractals. Like it feels like you almost close some sort of timeline, and then like we as a collective who are tuned into this, and something was like, yeah, the word streamlined is coming through, like merging, like unification. So I'm being shown subharmonics, and of course there's nuance and layers within this, but this feels like, again, like a streamline. So whatever phrasing we would like to call that. And I'm seeing these blue, violet, and like yellow, golden beams of light as I'm speaking about this through the air, kind of like I was saying earlier with the lasers in spy movies. I don't know why I'm saying spy movies, but you know what I mean? That's kind of like what I'm seeing energetically right now, like all over the room. But again, the colors of like blue, violet, and like a gold yellow. Archangel Raphael could be significant for someone. Again, the heart energy. Green glow. Isn't there a show called Glow? I don't know, maybe someone was just watching that or something. So wrapping this up, yesterday and today, I was kind of shown like you may have like something significant that happens when you feel like you've timeline jumped or something. Something I used to hear clairaudiently was like, welcome to your new reality. Kind of like, I've talked about this before. What's that song, Back to Life, Back to Reality? It's like in that voice, but I hear it almost as if like when you're watching like futuristic movies and like people walk in somewhere and they're like, welcome, Mr. So-and-so, or welcome, like that, like almost like robotic voice. Yeah, so that used to happen a lot, but this time I was shown that there are things in my current reality that are going to feel like, we can call them glitches, but when I was typing some of the experiences into Gemini, something that came back was like a vibrational reattunement or a vibrational realignment, and I really like that. So for like a more slang term, you may be having glitches, but it's like something is literally rearranging. Auric reorg, that's a phrase that I've been pulling for the last like few years. Again, I'm seeing Belgium, or the time period I was in Belgium, which I believe was 2020. Was that 2024? Might have been 2024. So that time period can be significant, but there is, do I want to share? Okay, they may be almost seemingly overly simple things. So my mom's dog is 4. I believe she's 4. She's a Bernedoodle, and I'm talking for like every time I come to visit, if I stay for 3 weeks or I stay for a month, whatever, and I play fetch with her. She never plays fetch back. Does not know how to play fetch, this dog. She just watches me, runs, and just keeps running and doesn't understand the concept of fetch. And when I woke up yesterday, I took her outside. It was nice out. And I just do it because it's fun to run, and like maybe one day. And all of a sudden she started playing fetch. And I was like, what is happening? This dog does not know how to fetch. And she wasn't doing it perfectly, but she was doing it. And I don't know, it just made me pay attention, And then something happened with my bank account. So you may be like finding money or having money appear out of nowhere. This really does feel something positive, I should say, that was sort of unexplainable, or at least like and it was like the timing. I kind of sent out like a little intention prayer, if you want to call it that, like almost like an SOS, like I really am needing assistance right now. And I was just like, listen, like it was really hard for me to ask for help, but like I could really use a hand right now. And boom, within like hours, if you want to call it a glitch or a vibrational realignment, something happened. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. Maybe I'll share more on Patreon, but this was all on the same day. And then I had one more thing occur. By the way, I don't know why I wrote this down, but 6:59 p.m. was when both of my ears had the high pitch, like an almost like an omniscient sound come in. So that number could be significant for someone. And I have been trying to retrieve this information from an investment that I made in January 2022. And like there was a closing of the platform that the investment was held, and then apparently the company got bought out. There was like all these different things that were happening, and every time I tried to get into my old email to retrieve, etc., it was just like, the runaround. Like I just could not. And then on the same day of everything I'm talking about, boom,